Hello, everyone. We're back again with, of course, PvP on the radar, the gaming show. Well, the gaming show is a weird word to say, but we talk a lot about gaming, so it makes sense. For people who don't know me, I am Marcella de Bie, a Dutch content creator, presenter from the Netherlands, active in gaming and automotive. So we're gonna talk quickly through the day or this hour. So what we're gonna listen to, we're gonna talk about the main subject is Metaverse gaming. Of course, we will also talk about technologies that power Metaverse gaming. We also talk about future of Metaverse gaming, and we have a game block. A game block is this time Eden Arcade. And of course, I will not be able to do this all by myself. So I'm gonna switch to my other screen because there we have Bastiaan. Welcome.
Hi, Marcella. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too. Normally I would say let's talk Dutch, but I don't think people can understand us then. So we have to keep talking English.
That is all fine.
Perfect.
All fine.
How you doing? Doing great there in the sunny...
I'm doing great. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, good to have you here. I think you are you the first Dutchie? Not 100% sure. We have people from all over the world every time, so that's really, really fantastic. I'm going to try to read the script that is very tiny, like every week, so this grandma is going to try to read it. Today we're having Bastiaan van Roekel. He's the CEO, Eden Arcade, and founder of, and you have to help me with this, is it Xpunks?
It's Xpunks, yes.
Xpunks, and on XRP?
On XRP. That's
Perfect. It. Okay. Since 2021, he has been starting businesses that utilize the XRPL, and his team is now developing a next generation game with the aim to I can't even read the words on my... Yeah, thank you. It's so small that the letters are just literally dancing in front of my eyes. The latest trends in the areas of digital ownership and persistence in game real estate. So yeah, Bastiaan, how did you enter this whole gaming industry?
Yeah, so we started an NFT project about 1.5 years ago on the XRPL called Xpunks. We are a punk style NFT project. The main utility for the NFT was to showcase the fact that NFTs are now possible on the XRPL. That's how we started. And over time, it evolved into much more. We started building our own NFT marketplace. We started building various applications for the XRPL that people can use. And we set our targets on gaming very early because we saw NFTs. It's gaming is one of the most low-hanging fruits for NFTs.
Yeah.
When it comes to utility. And there were games being built, but a lot of it was just focused on making money for the players or players to call it that, I guess. This whole play to earn trend hype that you had for a second, and we very early on noticed like, hey, these games aren't fun to play. We need to create a game that is actually a game first and then utilizes NFTs where it makes sense to actually enhance gameplay.
Yeah. Okay. And were you always a gamer yourself?
Yes, I started. We had a NES back home when I was very, very small, already playing Duck Hunt, Mario.
Okay.
And then the first PC game was Age of Empires 1.
Okay.
I remember the first time I played that game. It's just it's still a game that's very close to my heart. And then I got into shooters, Counter-Strike Source, which I played for years and years and years.
Nice. I think then you're around my age. Like I'm 32.
All right, I'm 29, so very close.
Because like you said, Age of Empires and such, that there was kind of the hype around that time as well. So for me, that was Conquer Online. That was my jam that I was playing.
Oh
yeah,
that was amazing.
It's really great too. So okay, so the whole feeling for gaming was there on an early age already.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in modern slang, people would say I was heavily addicted to gaming. It was all that I was doing.
Like how we always said when we were younger, nerd. We were nerds, yeah.
From the moment I woke up, I would already walk downstairs to start gaming before everyone was even awake.
Nice.
Yeah, well, my parents didn't think so.
No, true. Parents will not enjoy that, but
Yeah.
for now,
Until we
it's
started
like,
the
oh,
NFT project and it started going quite well, then my parents were all of a sudden realized like, hey, this computer thing kind of paid off. So.
exactly. Well, glad it did. And before we dive into our first subject, can you tell us a bit about the project you're working on right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Xpunks. Xpunks is currently the leading NFT project on the XRPL. We started quite early. We even started before the technology for NFTs was possible. We did something called tokenized whitelisting. For those curious, you can go to our website called xpunks.club. Shortly thereafter, we started on XRP, which is more of an ecosystem for the XRPL, where there's educational articles. There's a decentralized exchange on-ramp where you can buy XRP. There's a bridge to bridge over to other blockchains. And then the flagship product is the NFT marketplace, which is live and currently has the highest primary and secondary sales volume on the XRPL.
Nice. That's good. Glad to hear that's doing so well.
Thanks.
And as a blockchain lover, I would almost call or say, you seem to be very involved in the XRP community. Can you tell us a little bit about why you like that whole army? Because I now there's little. This is a very late moment that I'm like it's like Ripple, right? That's the name of it. Okay.
Ripple is the name of the company that built the XRPL.
Yeah, because now I'm like, hey, I know this one because years ago, I was also very much into the whole blockchain and looking at how it worked. And I'm like, oh, now I get it. It just, came in my head very late.
Yeah. So, no, I remember back in 2017 when there was this bull run going on. Everybody was investing, even though nobody knew what they were doing.
Nobody knew. They were like, hey, that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember buying some XRP, knowing nothing about it, and holding it for a long time. But it was actually my best friend and fellow co-founder of everything that I'm working on, Kai, who was really, really deep into the XRPL. He went really deep. He was watching long videos every evening, doing research, going into the message boards with all the conspiracies. And
oh, really?
He went the full way. He knew all the influencers. So when we started the project, he was more really the person that knew the XRPL, knew the environment in which we were starting. And I kind of grew to love the XRPL from that moment on.
Yeah, is he Dutch as well? The other...
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a Dutch team and, well, not anymore, I think, because how many people are in the team right now?
So it's I always describe it as layers. So we have a core team of 6. They will always be involved in pretty much in everything we do. And then outside of that, we have silos depending on what we're building on. So we have I call it semi-in-house development team that we put on certain projects that are heavily XRPL related work. But for example, Eden, the game, we work together with a partner, and they're this massive development firm in the States called CXR, Centrex.
Okay.
So yeah, depending on the project, there's different amounts of people working on it.
Okay. Yeah, and the whole XRP army, do you know much about it, about the whole fan base, or was that more from the other co-founder that was into that?
Well, now after 1.5 years, I definitely know 1 or 2 things about it. So now on the XRPL, most of us builders, we know each other, we talk, we often disagree about things. That's as you do in these developing spaces. And there's just this massive community of enthusiasts that they follow the projects, they read the material, they come into the Discord, they ask questions, you interact with them, and you're building this future. You're co-creating this new era of digital value.
Okay, nice. And what's your favorite Metaverse game apart from Eden, and why?
I am a big fan of Star Atlas. I think it's super dope. I love space and science fiction and everything that has to do with it. So Star Atlas. I also played a lot of Star Citizen last year when I got the opportunity. So I actually met someone from the Star Atlas team at GDC, Game Developer Conference, and super nice guy. They've given us some advice as well. And I love the product that they're building. They're well funded. It's beautiful. And I think this is one of the games that really is going to bring Web3 gaming to the masses and show how cool it can be.
Nice. Before we go to the next subject with you, I'm going to go to the big screen again to show my face for a second because I'm going to show you a little bit of a trailer. It's a little introduction about the Metaverse. So there we go. So the Metaverse is a vision of what many in the computer industry believe is the next iteration of the internet. A single, shared, immersive, persistent 3D virtual space where humans can experience digital life. Some of the technologies that provide access to this virtual world, such as virtual reality, VR headsets, and AR, augmented reality glasses, are evolving quickly. Today, the Metaverse is used for various purposes, including social networking, online gaming, education, and training. It can be used to create virtual worlds that mirror the real world, or they can be used to create entirely new and imaginary worlds that can only hold the limitation of the engine it's built on, too. So it was already playing at another time because I was not quick enough. But we're going back to Bastiaan as well. So what's your view on the Metaverse?
Yeah, short answer is I know it's the future. It makes sense in every sense of the way. So we are just talking about still growing up with the NES, and we know what kind of quality of games you had. What is it, 25 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
The way it looked, and if you just see that rate of progress, yeah, it's absolutely insane. If you now walk around in these games that have been built on Unreal Engine 5, it's uncomparable to what we played with 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So the rate of improvement, it isn't slowing down. It's getting better and better, more realistic,
Yeah.
and we're getting these new technologies. So AR, VR has now really gotten to a point like it's almost like a lot of people have an Oculus Quest 2, or the newer variants that are coming out. People are getting used to its existence, but the next step is really going to be AR. AR is going to be massive. I believe that very strongly, and we're slowly going to a world where it is, and especially throw Neuralink in the equation as well, and other similar technologies that will come, will go to a world where you always live with some degree of digital overlay in your life, that you'll get used to, and you'll be hesitant to live without, just like you're now hesitant to live without your phone.
Yeah.
You'll always carry these digital overlays, and you'll get to this point where digital items that aren't materially there but are perceived by all of us because we're all using the same technology, they'll become an integral part of our life, that you wouldn't want to live without it anymore. And that really is what the Metaverse eventually will be. It will be bridging that gap between digital and physical reality.
It's crazy though, because like you see a lot of movies that they built around it and you'd be like, haha. But if you look at like some videos, and not even that long ago, maybe 20 years or whatever, and they're talking about, or maybe a bit longer, but they talk about internet even. And it was like, whoa. And same with a mobile phone, you can't imagine that you could have done so many things with your phone when then we talk about I was 11 and had like a Nokia, like the first time with a bit of color in the back. That was huge. But that was something went so quickly. So, and the technology goes faster and faster. So what you're saying is 100% true. And I believe it as well, because we will be more and more in need of it. Like it's something we get used to. I mean, children are almost born with the phone in their hand. So Can you imagine how it is in like 20 or 30 years or maybe 50 years? I don't think you even, like when we're old, we are going to look like, wow, that is crazy. 100%.
Yeah. Absolutely, and in many cases, it will make our lives a lot better. In the end, we operate on information, and having the right information available when you need it is just like productivity will spike immensely, and taking care of ourselves will be much easier. Interacting with other people can become much easier. Obviously, you'll always see those downsides, but I think we always make the mistake of overemphasizing those downsides. So we talk a lot about why phones are bad for you, but like the conversation should really be like, how insane is it that you can drop me anywhere in the world and I know how to find my way back home? That is so massive.
And in need, like if you're in need of help, all those things, like it's crazy when in a way, my mom is saying, yeah, well then, I had to go to the doctor for your dad, and then I had to walk all the way to the town to go to a phone or anything. That's dangerous because so many lives,
Absolutely.
and too quick because of it. But yeah, of course, in another way, there's like a lot of lives always end as well because of a phone, because of driving with it. So it will always have a bad and a good thing, but that is always the case of anything that will come around. It is how it is. But yeah,
No, absolutely.
it is. So how are the metaverse and gaming related?
So this, so to a certain extent, and we'll talk about this more later, I think. But to a certain extent, the metaverse, so principles that the metaverse will bring will make gaming more fun, or at least more exciting.
Yeah.
So that is one. But I think for a second part of the question is, the meta gaming is building a lot of the technologies, is building incidentally a lot of the technologies that the metaverse will eventually run on. So a lot of principles that we've discovered through building these complex games are principles we'll be using in creating these really cool AR digital overlays that have nothing to do with gaming, but just make our life better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. And how is the experience of gaming in the metaverse different from traditional gaming experience? For example, there are already a lot of open world games out there. Is that different from a metaverse game?
Yeah, so the question of what a metaverse is a question that a lot of people are still wondering. After like this whole craze of the buzzword the metaverse came when Facebook rebranded itself to Meta, and they announced we're going to build the metaverse and etc. And crypto, of course, seized the opportunity to make some people in crypto seized the opportunity to make a lot of money using the word. But yeah, we're all still left wondering what exactly is the metaverse, and why isn't it just like an RPG game or Second Life or whatever? So originally the metaverse was envisioned as this VR world, this really believable VR world, getting close to what you see in the Matrix. Like really a second type of world that you can jump into, and whatever. I think the metaverse is going to be more what I described earlier. It's going to be a persistent digital overlay over the environment in which we already live. But also in gaming, there will be you'll be seeing elements added to games, and we're doing the same thing as well, that you haven't seen in gaming up until now, that I'd say this really differentiates it from classical games and makes it able to call itself a metaverse, or at least to some extent. One of them is cross-platform interoperability, and with that I don't mean we play a match, you play on the Xbox, I play on the PC, but I mean that I, as the gamer, use all the devices that I have to play the same game, but in different ways. So if I'm doing X, Y, or Z, I'm using my computer. But if I then have to go into the city, I put on my AR glasses and I can still play the game. I can meet other players. I can see them wear their armor of the game while they're walking on the street. All your devices will work together to create this coherent gaming experience. So that's one very important aspect, I'd say, make something a metaverse, and that's also really a big vision for us for the long run for Eden. But then you also have the idea of persistent player property, is at least how I call it, but I'm sure people have different words for it. But for example, some people listening might know, for example, the game RuneScape, where you could have your own house in RuneScape. So you had this whole world, this map with villages and cities and whatever, and all these buildings there, they were just NPC buildings, to call it, like non-playable buildings. They weren't owned by the player. They made up the main world, but if you had your own house, you went through this portal, and then a separate instance was loaded where your house was. It's not a persistent house. It's not a part of the actual world. It's like different area that is spawned just for you, so that you have the feeling that you have a house.
Yeah, no one else sees it. Only you see your own house.
And you could invite your friends to come over, but that's it. And in persistent player property, you actually own a piece of the main map, and it cannot be it isn't deleted by the game developers. It's part of the main map. You actually own that piece. So You can imagine a digital city where every house is owned by one of the players. So your digital ownership as the gamer will be part of the main gaming environments that we all play in. And it makes it a lot more realistic because that's how the real world functions as well.
Yeah, so it's a real world, but then into a digital world.
Yeah, and then the last step is true digital ownership. So you actually own the items that you have in game, and you can do with them as you please. You can sell them for real life money if you want.
Kind of like an NFT again, like owning
Yeah,
something for real.
and this is the part where NFT technology plays a significant role in the development of the metaverse, because NFT technology enables us to do this really efficiently and really effectively.
My brain is like going all kinds of ways, like thinking of all these things, because it is sort of intense or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it will fundamentally change gaming to a large extent.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I'm not advocating that every game should start adhering to these new principles or whatever.
No.
It's also fun to play a game where there isn't a real life stake, where your items don't have real life value. Obviously, it depends. So you'll have games that do this, you have games that do that, or games that do none of these aspects. You'll get a little bit of everything.
True. And how does an ownership of assets work in the metaverse? Like it's like an NFT, right? What we're just talking about.
Yeah, so there's different ways that you can do it. So one way that you can do it, and how it's pretty much done right now at this moment, is the game developers. They have their own central server, and that server just tracks which item there is and who owns that item, basically. The problem there is, you as the gamer, you're dependent on the game developer and their central server and the reliability of that server and the goodwill of the game developer, etc., etc. With the blockchain, if you as a game developer decide, okay, my players, they can store their digital items on the blockchain, then nobody can touch it except for the actual owner of the wallet that holds this. So that holds this NFT. So you're creating trust with your player base.
Yeah.
Secondly, you're also enabling other game developers to also start building utility for those items. So I can have a video game where there's like cars or whatever, and players can own those cars, and they can own them on the blockchain as well, so they can take them out of the game into the blockchain, hold them as NFT. And another game company could decide, like, hey, we like those cars that the game is using, we're also just going to enable players to use those cars in our game. So now you get interoperability between games, and theoretically, those two game developers don't even have to talk to each other or agree about anything or coordinate anything, because the information, the metadata, is stored on that NFT about that car and what it can do. So game developer B can just look at the metadata and say, like, okay, this information we're going to use in our game. So you as the owner of the digital asset can all of a sudden do a lot of things with a lot of independent games with that one digital asset.
Okay. Do you hear that, guys? Like a lot of food for your thought. Well, I'm gonna check in the chat. Is there any question you would like to ask about metaverse gaming? Obviously, as like a sort of the community questioning part. So if there's anyone who wants to know anything, just let us know. I can always come back to that. We can also really go to the next subject, is technologies that empower metaverse gaming. Metaverse being an immersive experience, what are the technologies that play a key role in the development of metaverse gaming?
Yeah, so in metaverse gaming, in broad strokes, just the same technologies that have been used to create games in the past. So yeah, you need your server technologies. You need your game engine, you need your technologies that you use to create the digital assets, the models, modeling softwares, all that stuff, sound design, just the whole shebang A to Z.
Yeah.
But when it comes to offering the players true digital ownership, then using a decentralized ledger is the best way to go. So the blockchain is really the new addition. Yeah, and then coming back to what we talked about earlier, is to really get to that real state of what I call a metaverse, is AR technology needs to be readily available and mass adopted. So there's rumors going around that Apple is going to drop, or maybe they already have, maybe I haven't seen the news yet, but it could be, I hear it could be happening any second now. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to share that. But these Apple will probably come with a really good pair of AR. With a really good AR enabled headset at some point, but we're still a little bit out for real, like, indistinguishable from normal glasses, AR glasses that everybody is willing to wear on the street, and et cetera, et cetera. That is really that technology that I'm waiting for. Like, hey, this technology is going to change everything. So yeah, broadly speaking, those are the technologies that set apart the metaverse.
Okay. And I see Cloverdale has a question. Is centralized or decentralized metaverse? What is better?
Yeah, it depends. If the question is a centralized metaverse, like the actual game is running on centralized servers, that will be the case for a long time.
What does it mean? Because, like, I am a noob in this. What does centralized or decentralized mean?
Yeah, so I am going to assume that that the question is just about the digital value that's in the game. So you have your game, and that game has items, and they have value. At least to the players, they have value. Maybe not to anyone else, but to the players, those items have value. That's why you put in a lot of work and time to get those items. So, for example, if you look at Global Offensive, you have these skins. People put in a lot of work to have them. People pay each other for those skins as well. But this is a centralized mechanism. The game has their own centralized database, and that's where it tracks, hey, these items are there. These are the owners. So that is a centralized way of dealing with digital value. I am a very strong proponent of doing that in a decentralized manner and using a blockchain. So that, because a blockchain guarantees that nobody can mess with those assets except for the actual owner of the NFT.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, so in a lot of games, a lot of games don't like you to trade your assets for real life value either. Or they want to impose rules on how you can use your items or what you can and cannot do with them. And yeah, I'm a strong believer that that at least you can create a very appealing experience for the player when you don't do that. So I think doing that then with a blockchain is a good way to show that trust to the player. Like, hey, we trust you guys. These are your assets, and we'll make sure that we make decisions to make the game better, and we'll keep in mind that you guys have these items, but we're not going to impose rules on you guys on how you can use those items. You can burn them if you want, you can delete them, you can trade them for real life money, do with it whatever you want. These are your items. So yeah, I believe that decentralized is better. But there's things that you cannot do when you so some games, they rely strongly on doing regular server wipes. So in Tarkov or in Rust, sometimes you wipe the server, you wipe all the assets, you wipe everything that everyone has. You kind of need that to sometimes when you haven't really put in a lot of work into making sure that the economy is indefinitely sustainable, then you need to do a server wipe every now and then. Otherwise, everybody has way too many items and everything is useless and the game is no longer fun. So in that case, then you do a server wipe. But if you start issuing your assets on a decentralized ledger, you cannot wipe those assets anymore. So you have to make sure that your economy is sustainable.
Okay. And another question from the chat. Do you think a government will try to be involved in some of the economic mechanics?
Yes, absolutely. I think,
That's good, yeah.
I think especially as soon as you see that, so you'll be seeing, and yeah, this will be the big hurdle. I really believe that this will be the big hurdle. So the technology is there, the vision is there. Like in this little clique of actual Web3 gaming builders, that there is, the vision is clear. We all believe everything that I'm saying here. We pretty much all believe these things. And the technology is there, the funding is there, so these games will be coming, and some of them will become really big. So you'll get to a point where you have this one digital economy that just has millions and millions and millions of dollars going around, and extra like bad actors will try to manipulate to use that economy for money laundering, maybe for terrorism financing, whatever. So that will raise red flags. And I think generally governments just don't like it when there are phenomena that they can't really control that have real world consequences, sometimes bad consequences. And obviously the people should start asking questions when that happens. So yeah, you'll get this you will get this friction with governments, depending on what kind of governments they are in control in what jurisdictions. But you will see you will see this friction happen, and yeah, the economy will do what it does. It's just it will adapt, and hopefully we'll have some smart people in power that actually make reasonable decisions when it comes to regulating this.
Yeah, in the end, if there's money, there's also trouble. So
yeah, when there's interest involved, then
yeah,
things get messy really
100%.
quick.
Yeah. All right. Then subject 3, future of metaverse gaming. In your opinion, how does the future of metaverse gaming look like 10 years from now?
I actually have a bet with the CEO of Zrun. Some people listening might know it. Zrun is this digital horse racing game. So we have a bet that he thinks it will take longer than 5 years, from my vision, with AR and this interoperable cross-platform gaming to become a reality. I think it's going to be earlier. So we have a bet on this.
Okay.
I think we'll be seeing we'll see a good pair of AR glasses that will be good enough for people to start using in their daily life within now and the next 3, maybe 4 years.
Wow.
And I think as soon as it's there, it will skyrocket. People will start using it really quickly. So yeah, what I really see happening is, especially within now and 10 years, within now and a couple of years, we'll start getting used to always having this digital overlay in our life, and it will become as common as the phone that we all hold, keep with us. And in gaming, you'll get that experience like, hey, I'm playing my game at home, maybe VR, maybe PC, could be the same game even. I decide I'm going out in the city to do some groceries. I take my AR glasses with me, and when I'm bored whilst walking, I put on the AR glasses, and all of a sudden I see people I see one bloke on the street who is playing my game, and I see that because he's wearing the armor. This digital overlay. I see him wearing the armor. Walk up to him. We talk about, hey, how did you get this? Blah blah blah. Maybe you even start throwing spears at each other or whatever. This is what I see as the true metaverse gaming.
And is it then like, okay, we're starting off with glasses, the same as we, started with a big ass phone, that even in the car had to be wired, to later on, instead of the glass, that it will be a contact lens that you put in, because not everyone wants to wear a glasses all the time, but definitely like they put these contact lenses in, and the same with the chips. They were always big and got smaller.
Yeah, I'll do you one better. I think we're just going to have it implanted into our eyes at some point.
Oh, Jesus. I don't think I will be alive anymore by that point.
No, I'm pretty sure you will be.
Oh, really?
That's
so scary.
I think 20, maybe max 30 years, but I'm pretty sure that this will happen. And we'll get used to it. We'll get used to it really quickly. It will be it will be super dope.
I'm a bit scared though, because that's like okay, the contact lens was already something, but hey, some implants in my head. I don't know.
Yeah, these things they happen slowly but fast as well. So
yeah,
you every step of the way with how we use phones, it's only been like 15 years, or the internet, 15 years before everybody really started using it. It hasn't been that long, but it never really felt rushed. It always like that extra thing that you started doing that now changed your life.
It just happened.
It just happened. It just felt natural to start doing it as well. Other people were doing it. That's how it always goes.
So crazy. Oh man, I have so much to think about after this. So now it's time. Steve said there will be no stopping it, even though it's a bit scary. True. It's 100% true. So now we're going to the game block, Eden Arcade. So the game is called Eden, but you guys are called Eden Arcade, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
The company is called Eden Arcade.
So normally in this part of the show, we're showing you some gameplay, or we play actually the whole game or a part of it. But this time we go a little more into the philosophy of the creation of the metaverse for the XRP community. So what are the Xpunks to Eden?
So the Xpunks are the project that started it all. The Xpunks is an NFT project that prides itself on the idea of pushing innovation. So, and I think it is in line with what you should be doing as a punk project. So you had the crypto punks a couple of years back, and they're still massive, of course, but they pushed the agenda for NFT technology. They brought this to the masses. They showed they made a lot of noise and they showed like, hey, this is now here. Do with it what you want. And for us, it's been really important that is also a part of our journey. That we don't just build hype, don't just that is not just hype building, but there's also like, hey, let's show you guys what we can do with this technology. So gaming was one of the logical steps that we undertook, and we're very satisfied with the results thus far.
Nice.
Hopefully we can actually show some stuff soon.
Will be cool.
We were hoping that we would be able to show stuff during this call, but at the moment it's just building, really getting those last things in order. So yeah, the Xpunks fundamental. It's a corner pillar for Eden, and it always will be. You as an Xpunk holder will also always be rewarded for being that Xpunk holder. Also in this game. So yeah, we'll disclose more about all of this when we can.
Okay.
Also, we'll definitely be exploring the lore of the Xpunk within the game. We'll make sure that you'll get to see more of what the Xpunks are, and we'll give the player a story to enjoy.
Well, I'm super, I'm always I'm always very excited to hear and see more. So hopefully maybe there's a way that you can come back and show us one day, and I would love to play and try it out as well, of course. Someone said, I can't say the name because that's like offensive if I say the name, but he said, come on, tell us more, boss. But I can't say his name out loud. I was almost saying like, ooh, can't do.
I feel bad for our community because they have been so patiently waiting, and we have given so little. But we really just want to reveal everything at once. We don't want to kind of we like to just surprise everyone and just show like, hey, boom, this is what we've been working on. It's the most fun effect.
Fair enough. And how did you come to the idea to create Eden?
So we're punk style project. It's like pixelated. If you know more about it, it's a celebration of internet culture, celebration of like old school gaming as well. Very nostalgia driven. So initially we were exploring doing something like a pixelated game, maybe 2D. But then, the funding was allowed us to do bigger than that. But also, we just decided like, hey, let's actually just build something that has a lot of future potential. Like the technology that we're building now is now useful for playing this game, but in the future, we can utilize some parts of that technology to carry over to that vision that we have of like AR gaming, virtual reality, cross-platform, all that stuff. We're already building that technology by building Eden to also be in the right position when that technology comes available and when that boom run starts happening. Sorry, what was the question again?
How did you come to the idea of Eden?
The idea of So, but certainly, it's really difficult for me to tell about the idea of Eden without telling what Eden actually is. But there have just been some eureka moments, especially when we started talking to Centrex, our partner and also co-founder of the game. We just had a lot of creative sessions and there was just a lot of synergy, and like every idea built upon the previous idea. And all of a sudden there's this entire picture, and we all just looked at it and was like, this is it. This is what we always wanted to build.
Yeah. Okay. And what can you tell us about Eden Discovery?
So not much.
Well, next question then.
Eden Discovery. So one thing that I can say is one of our inspirations. So we've always been first-person shooter fans. So we wanted it to be a first-person shooter. That was important to us. First-person shooters do well as well. We wanted to make sure that it's a game first and a metaverse second. So we didn't want to build this whole hypey metaverse. It's just about selling land or whatever. No, it's a game first. And you can enjoy the entire game without using blockchain. You don't have to use blockchain. You don't have to know what blockchain is. You can just load up the game. You can start playing. Every time the game tells you like, hey, you can use blockchain for this, you can click skip, and that's it.
Nice.
So that was important to us. And another big inspiration for us was EVE Online. EVE Online has this really massive, complex digital economy, people working for each other, organizations, companies, the political structures. And that inspired us a lot. And actually, I think I heard that EVE Online is now also looking into integrating blockchain in their game.
Okay.
But yeah, for us, it made a lot of sense to try to build to build something that can have an economy of that scale and that complexity, and then have it be blockchain enabled as well.
Okay. And what is that you want to accomplish with Eden Arcade?
Yeah, so first of all, literally the last thing I said is we really want this game to have this really vibrant, self-governing, sustainable economy. So not us sitting there top down forcing the economy to, like, there should be less swords or there should be less this, and like tweaking stuff all the time. We want this to be organic and complex, and we want people to start to not feel like they have to use pre-programmed gameplay mechanics to start organizations or whatever. We really want to enable people to forge their own path and to contribute in the economy, the digital economy, as they want. A lot of this won't be there in V1. I can already say this because this is going to be a long road. This the ambition is high. So with V1, we have created a foundation that we're happy with, and from that moment on, it will be a lot of co-creation together with the community. So listening, talking to the community a lot, seeing what people want, and just keeping building slowly that vision of getting this fast digital economy of which you will never fundamentally get bored.
Okay, and what challenges did you overcome while building the game?
A lot. I think one of the most eye-opening things as someone who is a lifelong gamer is just how easy it is for you as a gamer to have critique and not really understanding that companies have the builders of games have limited budgets.
Yeah,
that is really something you learn when you start building your game. Is every decision is a trade-off. Every decision becomes a trade-off. If you want this, then you cannot have that. That is every conversation is that same conversation. So it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of meetings that you have when there's 4 different people that want different things, that have different interests. And sometimes there isn't even a clear way to decide who is going to be right. So yeah, you'll just have to keep talking until you get there.
True.
So yeah, no, my respect for game developers has just grown exponentially since whenever we started this. It's really, really, really complex to build a good game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can imagine. And definitely, I've talked with so many people now already in the gaming industry, and it isn't easy, but it is fun in the end.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It is fun.
And what's the part you're most excited about, and that you can already share with us, of course?
What I'm just that's a good question. I'm excited about so much of this game. Well, at the moment, I'm just in that development mindset. Like, I just want the game to be live and work.
Of course, you want to show everyone.
It's the lowest hanging fruit. I just want it to work. Then I'd already be the happiest person on the planet, of course. But the ambitions are higher, of course. So we have this vision of this persistent world, and we haven't really seen this built the way that we're building up until now.
Yeah.
And it's always scary doing something first. So it's just going to be, it's going to be tricky just watching it. But if it works and if it does what we want it to do, that's going to be an immensely satisfying feeling, because then you are in this position to show the entire gaming industry, like, hey, look what we did. You guys can start doing this too. You can really start paving the way for the industry.
Yeah, no, 100%. And when can people expect more information about Eden Arcade?
If people just keep an eye on our socials for the next months, you'll definitely hear more.
Okay, then we directly do go to the next one. If you want to contact Eden, or how they can contact you, where is best to do that? Twitter? Is there Discord? What's the best?
Yeah, so there's a few different places where you can look. There's obviously, it's always a good idea to just follow the Xpunks Twitter. That is @XRPLpunks. you can find all the socials on the website. So I'll just name the websites. You have the Xpunks website, Eden or xpunks.club, www.xpunks.club. And then secondarily, there's the website of the game, eden.game, which right now is still a little bit mysterious. It's just the front page. But over the next month, you'll see us revealing the actual website for the game with all the information and stuff. I'm not saying any dates, but just keep an eye for the next month. You'll hear more. So yeah, there you can find all our socials and keep track. So join the Discords, join the Twitter pages, and you'll be sure that you're informed.
Yeah, and if you are like, whoa, that was very quick. If you have Twitter, go check it out, or let's see the chat there as well, because we made a post today on Twitter or some tweets about this show, and there are the links as well to the Twitter. But I see already in the chat, everything is sorted. So I want to thank you for today. Appreciate you being here and telling us more about. My brain is a little bit melted because this was like a different story for me that I don't know much about. So I appreciate it.
It was really fun, Marcella.
Glad.
It was lovely to be here.
I really do hope that we can see more of the game. Let us know. Let the team know, because we would love to see it.
And if you're interested in alpha testing, just let me know, Marcella. Send me a message, and I'll get you on the list. If
I'm the correct person for it, because I don't know if it's my kind of.
If you're a gamer, like the game has been built for gamers, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm a gamer, so that might work. Okay, well, thank you so much, and I'm going to the big screen. I'm gonna show like wave and bye. Okay, so there's also thank you for you, Bastiaan, from the chat. Everyone liked it. They are very excited to see more, so hopefully that can be soon. The topic for the next show will be announced later this week. Obviously, you guys have to wait 2 more weeks because it's not every week. Later this week's episode will be available on YouTube and podcast platforms like Spotify and Amazon and Apple Music. So if you have been watching, I'm waving to you as well. And if you're listening, I appreciate you listening to this podcast. Thank you all for getting waves back from the chat. Thank you all, and hope to see you, in 2 more weeks. And then I am very excited if my brain will get melted again. But I have to say, this was very interesting. So have a good one, everyone, and good night.